and she went her way homeward with one star away. As the swan in the evening moved over the lake.
Get out of my way!
You're always so angry.
Caledonia, get back here.
Hello! As usual, everything seemed to be going fine up until about 20 seconds ago when there seemed to be glitches everywhere. So, I don't even know if I've got things set up. I'm using a slightly different system this week, so it's all a bit weird to me. Hopefully it'll look the same from your side of things, but from my side of things it's a bit weird. So, can everybody hear me? And can everybody see me? Just somebody say, aye, we're okay, we can see you in the chat if you can. Oh, that's good. Thank you, Martin Ray. Excellent. From the Netherlands. Ah, we're all good then. Look at that. Got it sorted. Got it sorted. Right, so let me take away my own self-face for this side and bring my agenda up. Oh, hello. There we go. Right, and I'll do a couple of wee hellos. But first of all, before we do some hellos, I think slightly wee COVID update. I'm not any better, but I'm not any worse, right? But I've decided I've waited long enough to have a wee dram. So I'm going to have just a wee dram now. It's been 7 weeks since I've had one, so I'm going to have one now, and it'll no do me any harm, I hope. So, slán you va. Oh. Lovely, lovely. Right, where are we? Right, so let's do a few hellos. There have been people in the chat for about an hour, so I'm scrolling back through the chat. So here we go. Rose, as usual, was in the chat first about an hour and a half ago. So hello, Rose, if you're there, hello. And Martin Ray has a question, right? Well, before I bring your question up, Martin Ray, let me just hold things. And John there came in and said, God bless the Queen, long live the King. And I thought I'd tell you a little story, right? And I'll bring up a wee screenshot and tell you a wee story. A couple of years back, for those of you who don't know, I'm a musician and a bit of an entertainer. And a few years ago, I was playing at Dumfries House, which is not far away, and Prince Charles was there, and Camilla, his wife, was there too. And I was doing a performance for Prince Charles and Camilla, and for some vulnerable people and some elderly people who were there. And after the gig, Prince Charles came to say hello and have a wee word with me and my wife. And it was a Christmas gig, and I was wearing, let me bring the picture up, I was wearing a Christmas hat, right? You can see Jay there is done up as a wee elf, and I was done up with a Christmas hat. Now, if you can see the bobbly spring, the wee bobble at the end of the spring on the hat. Now, as I was talking to Prince Charles, I was nodding my head like this, and I just nodded a wee bit too far, and the bobble came over, right, all the way on the top of my head, and bopped him right on the nose, to which he sprung back a little bit and went, oh my nose. His bodyguards were like this. I thought, oh, I'm in trouble here. However, he laughed it off. I didn't get arrested. I didn't get put in the tower. I didn't get beheaded. But it was just a wee thing that I thought I'd share with you after John's wee comment there. And Jay has asked me right to pass on that she thinks King Charles, Prince then, is a lovely fella, and he's done a lot of good for us in this part of the world here. And I'll tell you something that I noticed when I was on the stage playing. There were 12 big tables, round tables, with I think 12 people sitting at each of them, and I'm talking about elderly people from some of the local sheltered housings that had all come, and I was playing some music for them to dance to, and Prince Charles, the Duke of Rossi at the time, was there. And when he came in, I watched him. He came in from the other end of the hall, and I watched him from the stage. And he visited, not only did he visit every single table, the 12 tables in there, but he spoke to every single person at every single table. He was in for a good hour, just going around speaking to people. So I do have a lot of time for him, and he's now King Charles III. So there you go anyway. So that was John that brought that up when he said, God bless the Queen, long live the King. I thought I'd tell you that little story. Right, anyway, so on the next, right, I'm scrolling back in, right, Martin Ray had a wee thing to say, and it was, right, hoping to dwell on a wee bit about the CEE versus the FCC item from last week. Yes, I've got a video to show you, and I'll be speaking all about that, Martin. It's quite interesting, okay, because I got things right at last after having things so wrong. On the previous video, I got things right this time. And the second part of this thing is wondering why of all people you need a drone doctor. Well, let me show you. Let me just clear away your message. I don't need a drone doctor, but Lassie does, okay? And it's I don't know whose fault it is. I'm going to show you here. Hopefully you'll be able to see the gimbal there. Can everybody see that gimbal? The gimbal is broken in there. Look at that. I'm making a bit of a hash of this. I'm sorry. I'm trying my best to show you, but the gimbal is actually broken. Right, I think you get the message. I'm not very good at showing that, but Lassie's gimbal is broken. And if you watched not the video that I posted there, but the one before, I think that's the one where Lassie flew around the little village of Dalmellington. She didn't fly far. She got out as far as 202 metres, and there was a strong wind warning, and the wind warning said unable to return to home automatically, please, I think it says something like along the lines of please lower altitude and fly home manually immediately. So now she was travelling forward, and that was at 202 metres that message came up. So I immediately started to lower her altitude, but within a split second of that message coming up, before I had time to reduce her, I think I maybe reduced her altitude by about a metre, maybe 2 metres, and our momentum carried her on at 235 feet, which is 235 metres, which is just a split second later. The connection was completely lost. So I had no time to do anything. As soon as the strong wind warning message came up, even before I had time to read it, I had lost connection completely. Now, I lost connection before. If you remember the blanket bog video where I lost connection, it was the same thing. Heavy wind warning and an immediate loss of connection. And I thought back then that what happened was, well, Lassie is just hovering there because the return to home said hover. And I thought, well, she's hovering, and I went out to get her, and it took me so long, it took me over an hour to get there, but I thought, well, by the time I got there, obviously she had come down and landed. I'm not so sure that that's the case now. I'm not so sure that that's what happened, because it just happened again. Now, because she was only 200 metres away, I could still see her, and she started to drift slightly to my left, or drift to her left, and she disappeared behind some very tall Norwegian pine trees. So I lost sight of her, right? I had no connection, and I brought the fine. I thought, here we go again. You know, she's going to be hovering there, but at least this time I'll get to her quickly, because she's only 200 metres away. And I still put the Find My drone up, and eventually got to her. And when I got to her, she wasn't hovering. She wasn't stuck up a tree. she had landed in a back garden, as you saw. If you've watched the video, you'll have seen that. She was in the back garden, and this fella who was in the back garden at the time, he didn't see her coming down, but he retrieved her. Now, it was after that I went and recorded the video that I posted earlier today. It was immediately after that I decided to go to an area that was flat and open and safe, and I could then, my plan was I was going to send her up maybe 20 metres, send her out maybe 200 feet and disconnect, as I have done in the past, just to see what happens, because I wanted to know what's going on here on a disconnection, what happens. But as soon as I sent her out, I could see that the gimbal was like this. If you watch the video, you'll see it. And I brought her straight back in, looked at her, and two things were wrong. First of all, as somebody said in the chat earlier, I'll see if I can find that wee message. I can't find it, sorry. There are so many messages going on. But that someone had said in the chat that maybe she had just come away from the gimbal had come out of this wee bit here. I'm not making a very good job of this, I'm sorry. The gimbal had come out of this holder, and that's true, it had come out of this holder, and I put it back in. But it was then that I noticed the actual break there. You can see it quite clearly now. Look at that, right? It was there that I saw that break. So I'm thinking now that she didn't hover and then controlled land. I'm thinking that she just fell straight out of the sky. And that would explain the reason why at the blanket bog when I found her, she was lying upside down. And that would explain when I found her this time, although she was lying, she was lying on her belly, if you like, the gimbal was broken. So she had to land pretty hard for that gimbal to break. It wouldn't have just been a soft landing in some grass that would have done that. And it was grass. It was a very short-cut lawn. If you watch the video, you'll have seen that. So she must have landed quite hard to break that gimbal. So I'm thinking that she fell out of the sky. Now, why? Why did she do that? I'm starting to think that it wasn't anything to do with it wasn't a firmware update, but the DJI app update or any firmware updates. And I'm thinking it was actually more possibly to do with Lassie having an internal problem. And it's not surprising really, because for those of you who have been following me on my journey, almost 2 years since I got Lassie, she has flown in snowstorms, she's flown in torrential rain, she's flown in extremely high winds, she's flown through steam, as you've seen, she's flown in sandy areas. She's had a couple of wee crashes, nothing minor, nothing major, but she has had a couple of wee crashes here and there over the years. If you've been following my channel, you'll have seen all this, because I'm not the type of person who wants a channel that only shows me being a fantastic flyer and how wonderful my footage is and look how great I am at controlling things. I want to show this is real life, I'm as big an idiot as everyone else, and I make as many mistakes as everyone else makes, and I want to show you these mistakes too. I'm going to scroll right down for a second just to make sure that everything is still all right. That I'm still on the air, and I'm still, because I've been talking for a while now. Well, now I think I'm still on the air and everything's all right there. Right. So what was I saying? I was saying that So I think it's possible that this is an internal fault with Lassie. Now, it's sort of dark in here, isn't it? All of a sudden, I'm still looking. Now, I have covered drone insurance, right? I don't have Care Refresh anymore, because I had Care Refresh, but it only lasts a year, or it certainly only lasted a year for me. I think you can get 2-year cover, but I only had a year cover, and it run out. So, and when I contacted DJI to say I want the Care Refresh again, they said no. it's your year's up. Forget about it. So I contacted Cover Drone and I took out insurance with Cover Drone. So I contacted Cover Drone after discovering that the lassie's gimbal was broken. You can see it clearly there now, look at that. Right, I contacted Cover Drone after I discovered that the gimbal was broken. And you have to jump through quite some hoops. Understandably, they're an insurance company, but you had to jump through. I had to jump through some hoops. They wanted, first of all, they wanted video or pictures, right? And that was fine because I had video. I had all of the video, but the problem was that the biggest file that you could send is 10 megabytes. So I had to take a tiny little section of the video, compress it down, excuse me, change it into some like 480 footage, so that it was actually 9.9 megabytes to upload to them. So I sent them that, and they also asked for my proof of my flyer, my operator ID. So I forwarded on the certificate or the email from the CAA with that. They got that. Then they said they wanted a description of what happened, plus they wanted all of the weather conditions. Right, now I've got something here. Let me see if I can bring this up. If you're probably all familiar, probably a lot of you are familiar with this. You just bear with me a wee second till I bring this up. Right, you're probably all familiar with this thing here, right? Which is Air Data UAV or app.airdata.com. And it keeps all of the data from all of your flights. Well, it only does, I think I've got a limit of 100 flights here. I don't know how many you get as standard, but I've got 100. And I've got 272 on there, so there's quite a lot are over, and they're going to be some that are going to be deleted, the older ones. But this gives you all your data, and it also gives you things like, well, that's the overview. It gives you, what's the details? Weather. It gives you weather. It tells you the weather conditions during your flight and different things like that, right? So yeah, you can look into it yourself, and you can find. Oh, sorry. Thank you for watching. Bye bye. So you can find quite a lot of. You get all the information there. It's no hard. It's not hard to do. I'm already. I logged on. I created a profile with that company, that website long ago, so all my data automatically gets updated. So I provided them with all of the wind direction, the wind speed, the precipitation levels, everything. It tells you exactly how far away the drone was, how high up it was, all of the warnings that are coming in. So I sent them all that. So that was everything, and I thought, what else are they going to be asking for now? Well, they didn't ask for anything else, but they use, as their repair specialist, they use HeliGuy. Now, I have bought some I think it was propellers. I bought some propellers from HeliGuy before. In fact, it was the propellers that broke. If you remember when while lassie was flying my day and one of the propellers snapped off, those were propellers from HeliGuy. That could have just been coincidence, but apparently HeliGuy is the repair specialist that Cover Drone employs to repair, assess, and then I don't know whether they repair or whether they just assess the damage. But they told me that I would hear from HeliGuy, and I did hear from HeliGuy, and he said that Cover Drone have contacted us. Please fill in this form, and it's another form you've got to fill in with him. And there's a lot of palaver, a lot of stuff that you have to fill in. And then he says that another member of his team will contact you and send out a DPD or a UPS. I think it's a DPD form that you need to then print out. And I don't have a printer, so that's going to be a problem. You print out and you take it to a DPD centre, and you have to also print off an invoice or a report or something and put it in with it, and then you box it up and you take it away to the DPD drop-off site, and then they'll collect it, take it to Heligai, he'll assess it, then he'll send a report to Drone Cover, and then Drone Cover will decide if their insurance is going to cover whatever the repair of the drone, and if it is, then I assume Heligai will repair it. So it's that's quite a lot of stuff to go through, a lot of hoops to jump through, and that's why Lassie still isn't away. Because first of all, I've got to source a printer from somewhere, and I'll have to see if I can get a loan of a printer to bring you, so I can print off the two things that I need to take to DPD and to put inside the box, and then box Lassie up and send her off to Heligai, and then wait for the assessment and the report to go to Cover Drone, and for them to decide what they're going to do. And who knows? But what I will do is, as things progress, I am keeping a note of everything that happens, and I'll make a video about it once it's all complete, to go through the process, so that if anyone else has insurance with Cover Drone, you'll then know the procedure of exactly what's going to happen, and what you're going to have to do, and how long it's going to take to get to the end result, which I still don't know what it's going to be. I don't know what the end result will be, but we'll see anyway. So that was a lot of talk there, wasn't it? A lot of nonsense. And I haven't even said the hellos to people, and it's 20 past. Right, so let me go back and say a couple of hellos, right, to people that I didn't know. There's Rights Defender is saying hi all. This was way back in the beginning. Hi, Jim, good evening. Family is good, Lassie's recovering well. Family's good. I'm just the same as I was last week, Jim, you know. Jay's fantastic as always. And Lassie isn't recovering at all. She can't recover from this one. She'll need to be repaired. So she will get repaired though. Derek, thanks for the recognition, he says. Your lordship, I am your humble servant. Right, there you go. Jim, good evening, Drone Slayer. Didn't mean to, it wasn't me. It just, the high wind warning happened and she lost connection like that instantly, and then I think she fell out of the sky. If it hadn't been for those Norwegian firs, and Norwegian pine trees, I may have been able to see what happened to her, but she just drifted behind them, and I couldn't see her. But the garden that I found her in, those huge pine trees are at the bottom of his garden, because the guy was complaining that they're getting too tall and they're blocking out sunlight. I had a good chat with him for about 20 minutes. But they're right at the bottom of his garden. So she drifted behind him, and she was over the top of his garden, and that's why I think she just fell out of the sky and gimbal broke. So a few of you have probably had something to say about this further down in the comments, which I will get to in a minute. Right, so there we go. Let me get through a few more hellos if we can. Right, Peter says, good evening everyone. I'm going to be on the road this evening, Robert, but I'll be listening but not watching. Okay, well, if you're listening in there, Peter, hello to you. Keep your eyes on the road. Hope you're alright. There's Daniel. Hi Daniel. Tura67, hello, good evening to you. Dave Gardner, hello. There's John. John, how you doing? Good evening, mate. He puts his thumb up. It's that way. There you go. There's a thumb to match. All right. Ian Ficorby. Hello, Robert. We are north of the border in Tarbet today. Is the weather as bad up in Tarbet as it is here? Because it's absolutely horrendous weather at the moment. You know, there's Mark saying, aye. I think that was an aye to say you can hear me and everything's all right. I'm hoping. I'm not sure. Guys, evening. How you doing? Al McEwen, British Columbia, Canada. Jason Burke, evening Robert. Stuck 66. Lassie was nearly stuck up that Norwegian pine tree. I think she missed it by that. If you look at the video and you see the Find My Drone app, she's just away. She was actually about, I'd say, maybe 10 metres away from the bottom of the pine trees. You can actually see her in the garden for a split second. I didn't want to bring the camera up too much because I wasn't sure if the guy in the back garden would object to me pointing a camera at him. So I was a bit kind of careful with that. Right, I'll you can taste that soaking up, and it's lovely. Right, Jason, it's getting down my neck. Richard, hi, how you doing? For Hereford, Were you in the regiment? Yeah. Haven Studios, do you... here we go. Might as well answer this question. Haven Studio says, do you recommend DJI Mini 3 Pro? Is it worth it over the Mini 2? I've answered this question quite a few times, Haven Studios, and I'm going to answer it in the exact same way that I have done before. And this is the answer. The Mini 2 is a fantastic drone and you can't go wrong with it, right? It does almost everything that you'll ever want a drone to do, right? It's fantastic. The Mini 3 Pro has a few extra features that the Mini 2 doesn't have. Things like active track, obstacle avoidance. It's got a slightly better sensor, bigger sensor on the camera, so night shooting will look a little bit better. And the camera quality is a little bit better, but not much, not enough that with a nice bit of tweaking in post-production you would notice that much of a difference. But it's a slightly bit camera. It's got the battery power is better, so you get a longer flight time with it, and that's about it. That's the differences, right? The other difference is the Mini 3 is much more expensive. It's twice the price if you get it with the RM330 remote controller. It's twice the price of the DJI Mini 2. Now, I personally don't think that the extra features the Mini 3 has justify that much of a difference in price. If you can afford the Mini 3 because money doesn't matter to you because you're so rich that it's falling out your ears, then get the Mini 3 Pro, right? If you're like the rest of us normal peasants and you're trying to balance your budget all of the time, get the Mini 2, right? It won't leave you way out of pocket like the Mini 3 will, and it does almost everything. Your active track that you have is standard on the Mini 3 Pro. You can still get it on the Mini 2 if you use an app like Litchi or Maven. You can get active track. It doesn't have obstacle avoidance, so you have to be careful with your active track, whereas the Mini 3 does have obstacle avoidance, so you don't have to be quite as careful with active track. You can just switch it to active track and ignore it, and it'll avoid any obstacles. So that's what I think, right? I absolutely love my Mini 2, and as soon as Lassie's repaired, she'll be going out as often, maybe even more often than Caledonia or my Mini 3, because the quality on this is just, I love the quality on this. So that's the answer to the question that I've been asked a number of times, and I hope you're satisfied with it, Haven Studios. If you're not, I'm sorry about that, but there you go. Right, let's do a few more wee hellos. Right, there you go. Johnny Max asking, is it just the rubber mounts that are split? No, it's no, Johnny. It's the actual, look at the back. Look right inside it there. It's the plastic, it's the whole. Right. It's the whole gimbal at the back. My first plan was, I watched a few YouTube videos to see how difficult or easy it would be to open Lassie up and fiddle about with entrails, and it's quite easy. So I thought, you know what? I'll open her up and I'll just super glue that. It looks like just a brake that could be super glued. I'll do that, and it'll be all right. I'll maybe put a bit of epoxy and stuff on it. It'll be fine. And if not, I'll just buy a new gimbal and camera and stick it in. But I changed my mind for two reasons. First of all, if I had to replace it, to buy one of those gimbal and cameras, it's 358 quid. That's ridiculous. That's all. You can almost buy a new drone for that, right? But the other reason, and the main reason that I decided not to try a repair, is because if I had opened her up and attempted a repair and failed, that may well have invalidated my cover drone insurance, and then it would have cost me the £358 to get a new and fit a new camera and gimbal anyway. So I decided not to attempt to repair myself and just claim on the insurance and see if they can get the, do the repair for me. Right. Oh, hold on, sorry, Mark. Great story. I don't know. I think, is that the story about Prince Charles, who's now King Charles? He was Prince Charles, the Duke of Rossi at the time when I bopped him on the head. Okay. Right, Martin Ray says clearly visible. Okay, that's the break you can see, I'm assuming now. Right, Stephen says hello, evening, how you doing? Dougie says, oh, it's beware the Bells Bank curse. I wasn't right up Bells Bank, but Domellington wasn't that far away. I keep meaning to fly up at Bells Bank, but I haven't done it yet. Jim, I don't think you're late at all anyway. Right, so there's Lynn saying, hello, good evening to you, Lynn, how you doing? Here's Tom Dennison, greetings from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. Great late summer flying here. Right, well, it's not so great today, but we have good days and bad days. Right, Dave Gardner, yes, you're good, thanks. Right, well, I'm still catching up a bit. Stephen R says, sounds like GPS faulty. Here's what I didn't show before the video, Stephen. I calibrated everything. I calibrated the gimbal, I calibrated the compass, I calibrated the RC. I did all my checks to make sure that she was an RTH was the setting on a loss of connection. I checked everything. I did all my pre-flight checks. I didn't do them right at the launch port, but I did them in here, and then I shot out, and it's only a 20-minute drive. So all the calibrations were done, so I don't know, unless it's a software or a hardware fault inside Lassie, which I'm starting to think. Somebody mentions motherboard in a wee bit, and I think that could be right. Here it is, in fact, it's Jim. Oh wait, sorry, Fish Diaries, hello, how you doing? Right, Jim said the chipboard could be damaged. Tell Heli guys all the problems. Aye, I might do that. I'm in contact with them, so when I send it, I might send them a wee email saying, look, by the way, let me give you a few things that have gone wrong over the past wee while, and see what they say. Right, what did the drone footage show when she came down? Didn't show anything, Jim. The problem was that as soon as she lost connection, she stops recording. That's it, no more recording. So I don't have a recording of that. And the data that you get on, I can't even find it now. The data that you get, let me bring it up. The data that you get on this, can I make this bigger? I think you can somehow, but how do you, a large map, right? Maybe that. And I probably can, right, the data, you can see that, oh, I'm pressing the wrong button, I'm an idiot. Nothing's happening, right? Look, right in close there. Right, so there's where I was, there's what I took, where, oh my God, where is she? Right, that was my launch point right here, okay? I took off from here. She only flew, I did a circuit, she flew, I'll take that by down. I flew her in a circuit, right, one circuit there, just to check, and it was during this circuit that it was giving me some wind warnings, and she was up at 75 metres, so I thought, right, let's bring her back, I'll bring her down to 50 metres, and then send her out again, right, and that's what I did. So I sent her out again, right from here, and she went along, and it was about here that I got I got that high wind warning and a disconnection, and that's when I say she drifted behind these trees, and that's finally where she landed, right? But I don't have, from losing the connection here to finally landing in the garden, and look how close she was to being stuck up the trees, I mean, goodness me. But I don't have any footage of that, because when she lost connection, she stopped recording, right? Completely stopped recording. And the telemetry did, obviously didn't, just had a blank screen. So I don't have any recording of this last little bit, which would have been handy, because it would have told me if she just dropped out the sky or whether she came down in a controlled landing. But look again how close she is. I mean, if she had come down just here, these pine trees are, I think, about at least 40 feet high. And that would have been it. She'd have been stuck up there forever. That would have been cheerio lassie, So I don't have any footage of that, Jim. Unfortunately, it would have been really handy if I did. Anyway, right. So I think I've got everybody's hellos there, right? And there Dan is saying, completely agree about the Mini 2 versus 3. Aye, it's just my opinion, and other opinions may vary on that, Dan. And I'm sure if you ask other YouTube creators who have the Mini 2 and the Mini 3, their opinion on it, their opinion may very well be different from mine. And I advise you, if you're still thinking, well, should I get the Mini 2 or should I get the Mini 3? Don't just ask me and accept my opinion and say, right, I'm going to base my decision on that mad Scotsman's opinion. Ask some other people. Ask guys like Nobby Green, right? He's got the Mini 3 and the Mini 2. Ask Gavin HR, he's got them both. Darren, he's got Darren McCready. Sorry, Darren, I keep doing that. Darren also, he's the and that's just the creators that I kind of follow. But I ask a few creators their opinions, and then you can make your decision based on all of those things. Wait, I don't. Who asked the question about which one should they get anyway? Was it you, Dan? Did you ask that? I can't remember. Whoever it was that asked that question about my opinion on getting a Mini 2 or a Mini 3, I forget who it was that asked. Sorry. Where do you live? If you live in Scotland and you're prepared to travel a bit to meet me, once Lassie's fixed, right, I'll meet up with you and I'll show you the different. I'll let you have a fly with both Lassie and Caledonia, my Mini 3 2 and my Mini 3, and you can decide. You can get a hands-on opinion, decide for yourself. Even if you live further away, if you're in England or Ireland or Wales and you want to travel up, I'm happy to meet you and let you have a shot once Lassie's fixed. Right, so, oh my God, it's 25 to, and I haven't even got to my agenda points yet, right, because I'm still saying the hellos. Right, okay. Peter says, just stop, Rob. Another point on the Mini 2-3 decision is the fact that you can get nearly new 2 for less than 400 quid. You can. It's, I mean, it all depends on, I suppose what it really comes down to is how much money do you have in your budget? If you have plenty of money, if you're loads of money and it's not an issue, I would say get the Mini 3. I love Lassie. I love my wee Lassie, right? And I'll never ever stop flying my Lassie, providing she gets repaired. I'll never stop flying her. But the Mini 3 is just a wee bit better. Sorry, Lassie. She can do things better than you. She's not as much a daredevil as you, and she hasn't done the things that you've done. But if you've got the extra bit of money, get the Mini 3. Okay, anyway, Cyril says, you need an Insta360 attached Robert recorder with its own battery, of course. I have been looking at I don't think it's the Insta360. It's the new X3 thing that's just come out and everybody's talking about it. I think it's a DJI one as well. DJI, it's the DJI X. I can't remember. It is a 360 one. I've been having a look at that, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to get it. It's mounting it onto Lassie would take her away over the weight limit, and I don't want to do that. Right. Anyway, Eddie gives me a heart with a cross in it. Is that for Lassie, Eddie? Aye. Right. Okay, I'm at the bottom of the comments there, which is good. If I've missed, oh guys, I've got a great question here. Right, guys. Oh, people are chatting again. Right, Gaz says, which controller would you recommend for the Mini 3? Guys, that's a great question, and I'm going to play a wee video. I wanted to play 2 videos. I'm running out of time. I'm going to play a video for you now, right? This video has not yet been released on my channel, but it is going to be released on Friday, right? So you're getting a first view of it. Oh my God, it's spinning like hell. Right, you're going to get a first viewing of it now, and it'll be released on Friday. For the channel members, I'm going to be releasing it onto the channel for the members at the end of this, tonight, at the end of this video. So any members, you can go and watch it in 4K. But for everyone who's in tonight, you can watch this just now, and it'll be released on Friday, right? And this is about the FCC mode versus the CE mode, which I have tested. And guys, it answers your question perfectly about which controller we recommend. So here's the video. Hope you enjoy it, and we can have a wee chat about it once you have watched it. Here we go. I wanted to do an FCC hack test with Lassie, but I can't just now because she's grounded. But what I can do is, I can take Caledonia, my DJI Mini 3 up, and I can test the FCC hack mode using Caledonia. The only problem with using a Mini 3 is that you can't use the RM330 that comes with the Mini 3. You'll have to have an RCN1. If you bought your Mini 3 with an RCN1, you can use it. If you have a DJI Mini 2, which is an RCN1, and you have a Mini 3, you'll have to use that. And the reason is because you can't yet download third-party applications onto the RM33. That's the remote that comes with or one of the remotes that comes with the DJI Mini 3. And I've downloaded an FCC tweak from a company called Drone Tweaks. It's drone-tweaks.com, and it cost me €24, and I'm going to test that today. I'm going to take Caledonia up and I'm going to fly her over a small industrial estate, a supermarket, some residential areas, some shops, some offices and a school, and then I'm going to fly her back. And I'm going to do that in FCC mode, and I'm going to do that in CE mode, and we'll see what the differences are. So here are the two flights side by side.
The home point has been updated. Please check it on the map. Take off. The home point has been updated. Please check it on the map.
Lightsabers are finally a reality, and you can own one. This new military flashlight is basically a light.
Sorry about the ads, didn't know they were going to be coming on.
I've been laying here all night long, staring at the same spot on our bedroom wall. My head is hard, but my heart, it's getting harder. We need to let it go.
Right, I'll turn the volume down a little bit because it's really just music during the flight, and I'll give you a little bit of talk through on the flight. So, but let me turn the music off completely. So on the left we have Lassie flying, Caledonia, my Mini 3 Pro, flying in FCC mode, and the second flight, which happened just a few minutes later, is in CE mode. And I tried to keep the flights as close as I can to each other. I didn't use a mission or anything. Now, the reason that you have to use the RCN1 is because, as I said, to use the FCC hack, it's a third-party app, and you can't use those on the RM330 yet, the one with the screen. So if you're looking along here, pay attention to the signal strength, because that's what's important, and also the height. So the signal strength is in the top right, and the height is in the bottom left. And just coming up very, very soon, if you look at the CE flight, you're going to see the signal dropping down a little bit, and then you're going to see it dropping into the orange, and it's down to 2 bars in the orange, and things don't get any better. There's this FCC mode dropping a little bit, but straight away goes back up. Now the CE mode has now gone into the red, right? Really, there's going to be a disconnection any second. So what I do is, if you look at the height, I start to lift her up because I think I don't want to disconnect. So I start to increase her height. She's still flashing red and things are not good. So that's in CE mode. But if you look over at the FCC mode, she's still got full strength. She's flying at 50 meters. It's exactly the same path that they're both flying on, right? So the CE mode is now at 80 meters high, flying along the same flight path, but she's still in orange, right? The signal strength is orange. Whereas in FCC mode, she's down much lower at 50 meters and a full signal strength, no problems at all. So that was another little flash right into the red in the CE mode and almost lost signal again. Whereas in the FCC mode, full strength, full bars, no problem. There you go, look at the CE mode flashing red again. So she's always right on the edge of 2 bars and red. And if you look just to the left of the screen, that part, that football area part, that's where I am. I'm standing there. Here, I'm actually right here in this park here. So she's not all that far away, okay? And to be not that far away, I think she's maybe about 200 metres away at the most. And to be going into 2 bars of orange here in the CE mode, whereas full strength here, that's quite a remarkable difference. Now, there's only a couple of minutes to go, so I'll let it finish the flight. Now this is a school she's flying on now. It's a nursery school and a primary school she's flying over, and they all have computers that are all connected to the internet. There's wireless going off everywhere. There are no signal problems at all in FCC mode, and because she's so close, she's maybe only 150 meters away now. There are no problems in FCC CE mode, and I have brought her height back down to 50 meters in the CE mode as well now. But she's really close. She's only about 150, 200 meters away from me, as you'll see as I turn around. And you can see that the ulcer avoidance is on in both flights, and I've got just over 30 satellites in each flight. So this is me, I'm standing here, so this is her on the return journey, a couple of 100 metres away. It always looks further than it actually is. I think that's something to do with the way the camera works and the way the lens works. But from here on in, we get a full signal all the way in, and I have a wee outro roundup that I say. So I'll let that play, and you can hear what I have to say. So there we have it. It looks to me like the FCC mode works, and not only works, it works extremely well. A fantastic signal without going into the red once. It popped into orange one time, I think, maybe twice, but no problems at all, and I managed to do that entire flight at 50 metres. In CE mode, she was losing signal left, right and centre. I had to take her up quite a distance just to try and keep the signal. So this hack came from a company called Drone Tweaks. It's drone-tweaks.com. There's a little bit of a procedure and some hoops you have to jump through to install the app. Make sure you read all of the instructions with the emails that come, and make sure you take a note of the username and the password that they'll send you that you have to use to log in to enable the FCC mode. I think, given these results, I need to go back out to Loch Doon and test the FCC tweaks and test the FCC hack from Drone Tweaks on a wilderness area, just to see if the range is improved. And I'll be doing that in the next video.
If you've ever accidentally deleted files...
Oh, shut up, what's going on up there?
Then you need to see this.
Right, that's one of the places. Right, so that's actually what I did. What I say at the end of the video is that I think I should go back out to Loch Doon and do a wilderness test. I did that. I have done that. I don't have the video for you because I haven't finished editing it yet. So I will be working on that and hopefully have it out next Sunday. That video you just watched will be released on Friday. Except for the members. The members can watch it straight after this live stream. I'll be putting up on the members section, and you can see it in 4K. You can only see it in 1080p just when you watch it. You'll be able to see it in 4K, and you can then pay closer attention to all of the points where the signal goes down. But it's quite clear to me that using FCC mode I'm not going to speak about the legalities of that. It makes a massive difference in an urban area. You can see that. It makes it almost crazy there's a wee fly in here, crazy to try and fly in CE mode in an urban area because you're losing the signal, and it's so bad that you could lose a signal, and if you lost the signal with a Mini 2, what's been happening here is she's been falling out of the sky. Imagine you were flying close in an urban area, you lost signal and the drone fell out of the sky and landed on top of someone's head because you're using CE mode. So anyone that insists in this country you use CE mode, that's actually more dangerous because FCC mode is so much stronger. Didn't lose power at all. So anyway, make your own conclusions about it. I think it's quite clear. The FCC mode is much better. So John, thanks very much. I said thanks for that super chat. Really appreciate that. And I couldn't bring the thing up on the screen while the video was playing, but there you go. I have done now. So, right, Martin Ray is saying, what you saying, Martin? We need a video now on how to install this. Ooh. Okay, I may. It's actually it's not simple. It's not difficult. But remember the previous video that I made where I installed it and went out and flew in FCC mode, and it turns out I wasn't in FCC mode at all. I'm a big idiot, and I hadn't followed the instructions. So all I would say is it's easy to install and it's easy to use, providing you actually read the instructions that come in the email. The most important thing for me is that I didn't do, because I didn't read the instruction, was that drone-tweaks.com, they will send you a username. It's a series of numbers and a password. And when you bring, for the first time you bring up the app on your controller, it asks you to log in using those details. And once you've logged in, that's it. FCC mode is activated. And you only have to log in that first time. You don't have to log in after that. Every time you click on the app, you'll automatically be logged in. So it's quite easy to do. So I don't know if I need to do a video on it because it's fairly straightforward. Providing you read the instructions, right? Don't be an idiot like me and just think, I can do it myself, because I can't. I'm an idiot. Right, so there you go. So I'm not going to do a video to install it, Martin, because it's quite easy. Right, Jason said, I've seen the Drone Tweaks Facebook page. The installation looks a bit of a faff, though. It's a wee bit of a faff. When I first tried to download the app, it took me up to it was my third attempt of trying to download it before it actually downloaded properly. Each time it wouldn't do it. Oh, and here's the other thing. If you are an iPhone user, you have to... This is quite a faff. You have to find out your UDID for your phone. And you can find it. There are instructions on how to find it. It tells you where to look, how to find it. You have to input that somewhere. I can't remember, but the instructions told you where to input it. And you have to do that with iOS system to allow that app to then work with an iPhone, right? It took me 3 attempts, and I was following the instructions at that point clearly, and just wouldn't do it. It wouldn't do it at all. And that's when I thought, this is rubbish. It's not working. It's a scam. But then on the 3rd attempt, it did install, and I then thought, that's it installed. It'll work now. But although it was installed, you still have to log in to the app on the first time you use it. Otherwise, you can fire up the app, but if you don't log in, you won't be in SCC mode, right? So it is a bit of a faff, Jason, you're right, but as long as you follow the step-by-step guide, you should get there, all right? Martin, do you think it's as good as the original FCC Mini 2? I wanted to test it on the Mini 2, but I couldn't, because by that time Lassie had got a broken gimbal, so that's why I had to use my Mini 3. Johnny says real men don't read instructions. Yeah, we don't, and then we get it wrong, you know. So real men might not read instructions, but real men get it wrong, you know. Read the instructions on this one, because it's complicated if you don't. Right. Jeff, hi, how you doing? Hope all ends well. I hope so too. The very worst that could possibly happen is that cover drones say that they're not going to pay for the repair for some reason, I don't know. And then Heli Guy says, I can repair it, but it's going to cost £385 for the new camera and gimbal, plus his working time. So it's going to take a repair way over the price of a new drone. So what I'll probably do in that case is say, no, do not repair anything. And I'll retire Lassie. I'll probably put her in a little mount up here behind me. And then I'll buy a second-hand Mini 2 and go out, and Lassie will be in retirement. That's the worst that can happen. Hopefully not, because Lassie is not ready to retire yet. But if it comes to it, that's what will happen, because I'm not paying £385 plus the labour, which will be a couple of £100 itself, when that's going to be, you know, a lot more than the cost of getting a new, even a brand new Mini 2. Because I don't need to buy everything else that comes with it, the Fly More pack and everything, because I've got all of that already. So I hope it all ends well as well. Drone shots, hi, you're coming in very late. We've only got 5 minutes left, but there you go. Jason says, I found that getting to the UDID on my iPhone was a bit of a trial too. I didn't find that a trial, to be honest with you, Jason. I found that quite easy, but that's because I followed the step-by-step guide on how to find your UDID and then where to put it. Is regarding the actual app. I can't remember where it is now, but it was an extra couple of steps, but I found it fairly straightforward. The biggest faff for me was that when I was initially trying to download the app, the FCC hacked or modded app onto my iPhone, it wouldn't download. It was telling me it was downloading, but it wouldn't give me the proper icon, and it was 3 attempts. That was the biggest faff for me, but in the end I got it. Dougie says, I use an independent fella in Scotland for repairs if you're stuck. I don't think I will, Dougie, because as I said, even an independent fella, right, it's still going to, the cost of the gimbal, I know this because you can buy them on Amazon. You can buy the gimbal and camera unit and then you can fit it yourself. And there's a lot of palaver because you then have to calibrate it and everything. It's a big palaver. The cost of that is 380 quid for just the unit. Even an independent fella's going to charge £100 to fix it. That immediately takes it way over the cost of buying a brand new DJI Mini 2 from DJI store. So I'm not going to, if my cover drone insurance doesn't cover the cost that's in there for whatever reason, I mean, it should. I've done everything they've asked me to, but if it doesn't, I'm not going to pay to get it repaired. I'll just, as I said, I'll just retire, put her back up here in a wee glass case, and then buy myself, when I can afford it, another Mini 2. Exposing the auditors. Nat, how you doing? Right, Nat, you are actually my final item, which is number 8, and I've got a few minutes left, so I'm not going to get to you. I'm going to give it, in fact I will, I'll just do it. I had a few other items in my agenda, but we've run out of time again, and I know a lot of you are saying that an hour's not enough, but it's enough for me in my current condition, right? But my final item was going to be a shout out to a channel, right? And the channel is called Exposing the Auditors, right? The reason I'm shouting this channel out is because for those of you who liked my little skit that I did on the Auditors for Auditors, my little pea-take, if you like, and quite a lot of you liked it. If you go to Exposing the Auditors channel, and I'll leave a link in the comments, or maybe even pin the comment of this video when it turns into a video and isn't a live stream anymore. If you like that video, you're going to love the stuff that's on there. Now, the videos are all short. They're all 30 seconds to a minute, maybe a minute and a half. There are a few longer ones, but they're all very, very short. So you can binge watch. You can binge watch them all, right? I don't know if it's Natalie that creates them on her own, or whether she's got a wee team. Her hubby maybe helps her. I'm not quite sure whether she does it on her own or whether she's got a wee team there. But the editing is fantastic. The sense of humour is wonderful. And where she comes up with the ideas for putting them together are fantastic. She focuses on leads, frauditors, and she really goes hard on them, hams them to death. So I recommend you all to go subscribe to that channel, like the videos. I binged watched every video on her channel the other night. They're fantastic. Exposing the auditors. Shout out on that. I'm going to sign off now because we've got 30 seconds to go, and you know that I don't want to run over, because if I do, I run into Drone Seekers International. Don't want to do that. So thanks for those of you who gave me the super chat tonight. The super chat, I think it was just you, John. I don't think anybody else gave me a super chat, so I'm going to be a bit poor this week, but there you go, that's the way it is. So thanks very much for watching. Look out for the videos that are coming up on the channel during the week, and I'll see you next Sunday.